Reasons why I don't give a fuck. The main reason why I don't give a fuck is because I have no fucks to give.
Hey everybody, what's poppin'? It's your girl Big Moody and I'm back with another story time. Today's story time I actually already filmed previously. And if y'all have noticed, I did not post, well, when you guys will be seeing this video, it'll be last week. So last week I didn't post because I had this video filmed actually and I was gonna post it, but I kept watching it and watching it and watching it, and like I hated how my voice sounded, and so that was enough for me to just scrap it and be like, I'm gonna record this again. Plus I love recording here because it just makes my skin look fucking amazing. Okay, give me a thumbs up for my skin and my hair. Give me a thumbs up because we popping over here. Okay, so in the story time, basically what I will be talking about are some of my worst job experiences. Today I'll only be talking about my country club job, my Boston Pizza job, and my Value Village job, because some of the other jobs are kind of boring. Like, there's not really stories. Some of them actually have too many stories, and some of them are simply not worth the time to even be talked about, to be quite fucking honest. Yeah, so what we're going to be talking about today is 3 different jobs that I had. Some of my worst experiences as an employee. So let's get started. Let's start with Value Village, because Value Village honestly wasn't that bad. The only reason why I'm including this job in this story is because it was literally factory work. Like, it was that job that just made it seem like you were working in a factory. Every day from Monday to Friday, it was 7 to 3. Some days we would have, well, no, I think like once a month we'd have 6 to 2:30. Listen, I'm not a morning person. No, I'm La Luna. I'm not a morning person. No. I just really hated that the idea. Well, not the idea, because it wasn't an idea. I was doing it. I just hated getting up every morning at 6 a.m. And when I worked at Value Village, I worked in the back, in production is what we called it. I didn't work like the floor. I wasn't like a, what do you call it? I didn't work like the retail part of the job. I worked the production, which is basically factory work. Like, if anybody's ever worked in the production of Value Village, you know it's literally, there's sections, because obviously Value Village has a bunch of shit, so there's sections for everything. There's clothing, electronics, furniture, jewelry, shoes, and I think there's one more thing that I'm missing. And so everybody would have a section. There'd be a group of people. I mean, I'm a star worker, I'm a star employee. Ask about me. And so I ended up working everything. First I started doing clothes, and clothing, like, the reason why I say it's factory work is because literally, like, the clothes would be on a rack, right? So the trucks would bring in all the donations or whatever in the mornings before we would get there. Let's say, so I started in clothing. The clothing is on the rack. You have like a tag gun. If you've ever tagged a price tag to a piece of clothing, you know that gun that I joked myself 1,000 times in my fingers. Okay, I don't even want to talk about doing that. And you would literally just price the cloth. Ooh, English. You would price the item in front of you. The paper you had in your gun was linked to the clothes that were on the rack. So whatever was coming out of the gun was already specifically for the clothes, which is also pretty cool. So you didn't have to do too much. It was just literally tedious, repetitive work. So I got moved around because I was a good worker, and I did jewelry, and I did a lot. I ended up leaving actually because they started to really expect me to do the most, and I'm like, first of all, this is not my life. This is a part-time job. Well, actually it was full-time, but you know what I'm trying to say. This is not my career, so I don't know why y'all think I'm up here trying to do everything. No. And I was just kind of, I'm not a 9-to-5 girl, and I was working during the summertime. I was 18. Bitch, I don't want to be here from 7 to 3. It's 30 degrees outside. My friends are going to the beach. I remember I literally skipped. I left work at 10 one day. I said, oh, my grandpa needs me to drive him to the hospital or something like that. And I left at 10, met up with my friends, and we went to Wasaga, I think. And that was a beautiful day. And I'm glad I did that. And I'll do it again. But let's move on. Moving on from Value Village. Which one do I dislike more? I don't even know. Man, let's get into Boston Pizza, because Boston Pizza is really, really quick. Okay, the reason why Boston Pizza was one of my worst job experiences. I worked there for, I want to say 2 months. I made a story time a couple weeks ago. If you guys watch my episodes. If you guys watch my videos, and I talked about getting a concussion and how I lost my job. Boston Pizza was the job. So I got my concussion. Remember I said in my last story time I have to take a weekend off. Doctor's orders because I have a brain injury. So I took the weekend off, and the next day, I think I came in the next weekend on a Saturday, called me into the office and basically terminated me. What did they even say? I don't even remember. Just pure bullshit. And I remember I was just looking at them. I wish, you know, when you look back at things when you're younger and you just wish, like, now that you're older and like you're different, you know, I just wish I would have stood up for myself more in that situation. I wish I would have told them, like, I have a fucking brain injury. I'm gonna fucking take this to HR. You can't fucking fire me because the doctor told me I need to stay home for a weekend because I have a full-on concussion from hitting my head on a chair and a concrete floor. I didn't say that. I actually didn't say anything. I said it was great working with y'all, shook their hands, and I walked out. And then I went to my other job to make the money that I just lost. Everybody said that. When I told them they fired me for my concussion, they were like, well, why didn't you? And da-da-da. And I'm like, man, I wasn't thinking that way. And plus, Boston Pizza, that job was so shit. That restaurant got nobody there. Like, that restaurant never had anybody there. The food is trash. The people working there, I only liked really one girl. I don't even know. I haven't seen her literally since 2018. January. That's when I worked there. I worked there for the beginning of 2018. It's 2021. But fuck that Boston Pizza. Should I say which one it is? I mean, there's only so much in the GTA. Fuck that job, man. How you gonna fire someone for a brain injury, bitch? Like, what kind of sense that made? So moving on to the last job is the country club job. Anybody who knew me, I said that weird. Anybody who knew me when I worked at this country club, y'all already know how I feel about it. Y'all could just skip this part. No, I'm just playing. But y'all know. Y'all fucking know. Bro, okay, I don't know if y'all have ever worked at a country club, but obviously a country club is for rich people, so you're working around rich people. The one that I worked at was in Richmond Hill, so it was predominantly rich white people. Actually, it was only white people. The only black person there was me and one of the chefs. First of all, it was double shift jobs. I don't know if y'all have ever worked a double shift job, which is basically, so what we did, we worked 10 to 3 was lunchtime, and then you get a break. You'd either get an hour break or a 2-hour break, which would be either 3 to 4, and then you start at 4 and you'd work till 9, or 3 to 5, you'd get a 2-hour break, and then you'd work from 5 to 9, which was dinner time. Monday to Thursday. Fridays dinner time, everybody had to wear a uniform. It was the ugliest uniform of life. If I could find a video of me wearing it, I will put it into this video because it's fucking disgusting. I literally had to wear, well, I'm dramatic. It was basically a dress shirt with a black tie, black dress pants, and black shoes. So I wore my busted ass fucking black Air Forces. And our hair had to be back all the time. And those were still times where I wasn't really on my hair game, so I would always just tie it back in a bun, and I always just felt so ugly. Like, I never slicked it back, I never did my baby hairs. Like, I was still like on my natural hair journey, because I really started my natural hair journey in 2017, so I was still learning a lot of shit. So anyways, now I'm just rambling. But what I really wanted to get into about this story, first of all, my manager, the kitchen manager, we had a restaurant manager, a kitchen manager, and then an assistant manager to the restaurant manager. Our restaurant manager was a woman, our kitchen manager was a man, and our assistant manager was a man as well. So all of these managers, first of all, they all had something about them that was just like rolls my eyes. Our restaurant manager was a kiss ass. She kissed everybody's ass. Oh my god. To the point where like we would be so upset, and there was this other employee who would yell at her dead ass and speak her mind, because she would kiss ass to the point where it's like, bro, we're doing this literally because you don't have a backbone and you're pussy and you want to impress these white people. Literally. Our kitchen manager was bipolar, clinically bipolar. there was a lot of yelling and screaming coming from that kitchen. Then our assistant manager to the restaurant manager was just an egotistical freak. And he's who I really want to get into. So he was this Russian guy. He used to be a Marine or a Navy SEAL or something from Russia. I don't remember if he actually like fought in or for something, or if he just did training. I think he was saying something about how in Russia they have to like train regardless of what will happen. It's just a training that you go through. I can't really remember, like this was 2017 again. And y'all know I don't really be paying attention to people anyway. So when I first met him, I was working a dinner shift by myself. This wasn't a Friday night though, because you don't work Friday nights by yourself. Because the Friday nights were table d'eau. I don't know, it was in French and it was horrible. It was a 3-course meal and you would have to, sorry, I'm getting off track, but this is what I wanted to say also. 3-course meal. That is why we have to wear those uniforms, because we have to look even more boring and basic than we already do at this fucking restaurant. We would have to, when we're bringing out the food, like we literally had to learn country club etiquette, I would say, because ain't no waitress at a Jack Astor's coming up to me the way we had to learn how to pour wine. I understand learning how to pour beer, because that's something you actually have to learn so that you're not drinking foam. I've worked as a bartender before. Wine? Bitch, no. Just had to be bougie. Bougie is the word. So we literally learned how to pour wine to make it look good, and how to open the wine at the table. Everything, we had to be and look perfect at all times. We couldn't fuck up. And if we did, because our restaurant manager was such a kiss ass, she would like blame us and yell at us. Even if the fucking old ass, these 80-year-old fucking rich white people fucked up the order themselves because they could barely read. They could barely, listen. We would have to bring their food, their 3-course meal. Well, obviously not at the same time, but we would have to get like on this big platter, I'm gonna say, for lack of a better word, and we put the plates on it and lift it, and we had to hold it over our shoulder like this. And when I tell you that shit was heavy, when I tell you the food, because this is country club food, remember that. So it was like it had a presentation to it. Bitch, if you move that platter just a little bit, that presentation can be fucked up, and now you can't give it to them. It was like you were walking on eggshells, very much. But let me get to basically the end of the story. So then one day I was working a dinner shift. I had to leave early, and I told this to the restaurant manager the day before, and I told her something. I made up some bullshit lie. I said something like, me and my family have to go to therapy, because when I tell you this job was so like, bro, you cannot. I remember I had to make up some weird ass excuse to go to a Halloween party, and I left early, and my restaurant manager was so mad at me, and because it was a Friday night, it was one of those table d'eaux, and I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. And the tables were honestly, I could sit here for hours and talk to you guys about that country club. But what had happened is, long story short, I ended up leaving early on a work day. I left literally maybe like an hour early too. And basically the assistant manager was upset that he had to do his job, aka close, because he would never close. My restaurant manager would always leave him with us. So even if it was just one of us, 2 or 3 of us, there was never more than 4 of us. He would leave at 8:30. First of all, sir, we don't close till 9. He would leave at 8:30 on his bike, because for whatever reason he decided to bike to work and back. Child, I don't know, that man was weird. He literally reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger, even the way he was built. He was just a robot. He had to close, and he was pissed. And so the next day he made that very clear. He was like, oh, well, he actually didn't speak to me the next day, but the day of, he was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You have to do your job. And I remember looking at him, I'm like, but it's your job. You're the manager. And he got upset and tried to make up some bullshit, whatever. So then the next day, I was working the bar at lunchtime. People who work at the country club can come to the bar and get takeout. So the chefs will make it, we'll go grab it and bring it back to them. And then you could also just get like a liquid drink or a snack. That's really what the bar was. It did have alcohol, but it wasn't like a bar. It wasn't one of those. And so I was working there, and he came up. So this man, I was here, first of all, the joke, actually. I was sitting there filling out my application for Boston Pizza, because I was applying to Boston Pizza while there. I was literally leaving on my lunch break to drive from Richmond Hill to that Boston Pizza to get to do my interview and to get all my papers. Like I did not like this country club job at all. So this man comes up to the counter and knocks and goes so I'm like, still writing on my shit. He goes whoop, like he whistles. I'm like, still writing my shit. This man's like, hello. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, did you call me? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear you say my name. And then he ordered whatever, and I was like, okay, bye. And that was it. And then I never spoke to him ever again, because I was like, who the fuck do you think you're coming to, knocking on the thing talking about to get my attention? Bitch, who are you? I ended up leaving that place shortly after, because no. But anyways, y'all, that is the end of this video. Those are some of my worst job experiences. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, share the video. All my social media will be linked down in the description box below. Follow my TikTok. I be putting videos out on there. I think I'm pretty funny, so follow my Twitter, my Instagram, all of that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.